What's going on, everybody? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we are going to react to Max Kellerman making a complete fool of himself. Now, I didn't know that Max Kellerman had this take. I don't watch First Take normally. If there's a clip going around that is controversial or a lot of people are talking about, then I'll typically react to it. So this news is about 3 days old, but someone during the live stream earlier told me about Max Kellerman's take, and actually called him Max Keller Woman, which I think is an accurate name for Max Kellerman. But as we know, this dude has a severe case of TDS. He's also a complete idiot when it comes to talking about anything other than boxing. He knows his boxing. Outside of that, he knows nothing. But let's listen to his take on LeBron James and the incident with the tweet where he's tweeting to incite violence against a police officer, a heroic police officer that ultimately saved the life of a young black teenage girl. Yet LeBron has a problem with that. And of course, Max Kellerman is going to try and spin it to his advantage. So let's check this out right here. Let's listen to what Max Kellerwoman has to say.
First of all, LeBron's tweet, let me be very clear about this, obviously means to anyone with even a below average IQ and any semblance of education at all, like you have to be living on another planet or not understand basic language to know what your next means. Are we coming out of a situation where there was vigilante mob justice against police? No. We're coming on the heels of a situation where a cop who murdered someone on camera was tried and convicted of all charges. So obviously, clearly, that's what LeBron is referring to. Number one, that's what he's referring to. And politicians who would use this for political gain, or let me rephrase that. Politicians who would instead lead people to believe that what LeBron was doing was attempting to incite violence, either suffer from extremely low comprehension or are lying to their constituents to curry political favor. One or the other, stupid or corrupt, right? Like, that's what it is. Now, let me just say,
what does anyone think LeBron actually wanted to happen to the police officer? What does anyone actually believe that he wanted to happen? Now, I don't think he blatantly wanted violence per se, but he certainly wouldn't have minded it, because we've actually seen situations where police officers have been attacked and targeted. We've heard the sheriff out in California specifically ask LeBron to speak up, since he's always wanting to speak up on these issues, and LeBron says absolutely nothing at all. His words led to those actions that happened to get those police officers in that terrible predicament they were in. What did LeBron James want when he made that tweet? What was the expectation? What did he think would happen? That's the question. Do I think that he specifically wanted violence? I don't believe that he specifically wanted violence, but I also don't believe that he didn't. I don't think that he cared either way. What he wanted to do was target another white police officer so that white police officer could face hatred and lawsuits and doxing and threats against them, because we've seen that happen over and over again. So, I mean, the fact that Max is trying to do all of these gymnastics to try to justify LeBron and what he did is indefensible. What he did is indefensible. But go ahead, Max, continue on.
LeBron acknowledged he made a mistake, Stephen A. He didn't gather all the facts ahead of time. He jumped to a conclusion, and he took down the tweet.
Oh, he's so brave.
So reaction to LeBron saying, wait a minute, what do you want this officer to do? Whatever you think, hey, the officer didn't have to use deadly force. That is a teenager. She already dropped the knife. Whatever it is, it's unclear, and I've watched the video, exactly what happened. Some of it's blurred out. But what is clear is that there's a point of view that is easily seen as legitimate, that, wait a minute, an officer responds to a scene, a girl is being attacked by another girl with a knife, he takes out the threat, so to speak, and obviously, unfortunately, that threat was a teenage girl, right? It is not a good issue. It's not a pleasant issue to look at it, however you look at it. But the point is, for LeBron to immediately assume guilt on the part of the officer, people took exception to. Now, how did LeBron respond, Stephen A. Did he double down and say, no, to hell with you? No, he took down the tweet and he said he has to do more research. That's a legitimate.
He didn't apologize. He didn't apologize to the officer. He did not apologize to the officer that he targeted. He didn't give the officer the respect that he deserves. He decided to put that specific officer on blast. He decided to do that, and then he failed to apologize directly to that officer. Continued to make it about an anti-police narrative that he has created. Don't give him a pass for that, Max Kellerman. Absolutely ridiculous that Kellerman's trying to give him a pass. But what do you expect from Max Kellerman? What do you expect from someone who suffers from a severe case of TDS? Absolutely ridiculous.
Legitimate response to someone who maybe didn't act perfectly in the first place. That's a legitimate response. I've also seen takes that LeBron was, quote unquote, doxing the officer. People apparently don't understand what that means. Doxing refers to when you release information that was heretofore not publicly known about someone, directing the mob's ire toward them. LeBron did not release private information and now made it public and tried to incite a mob toward violence toward an individual. Not at all. He said accountability. Stephen A., you brought this up. All caps, hashtag accountability. No, you are on camera. He seemed to be saying you were caught in the commission of doing something bad, which is now legitimately disputed. And
he literally tweeted a photo of a police officer that saved the life of a black teenage girl. And he twisted it to try and say that he was next because he murdered a black teenager. Another police officer that shot an innocent black person. You're next with the little time, little time clock, I think is what it was. A little clock. What was it? I can't remember. And then hashtag accountability, which is exactly what he tweeted when the Chauvin verdict happened, meaning he was specifically targeting this police officer with a blatant lie to try and twist a narrative that this police officer is exactly like Derek Chauvin was. That pushes hate his way. That's going to put his family in danger, all because LeBron James isn't smart enough to do the slightest bit of research before he's willing to push his anti-police narrative. But Max Kellerman thinks that's okay, because of course he does.
Knowledge that it's legitimately disputed. That was his mistake. You caused something bad, and now you're next. In other words, there was just a situation where an officer killed a black person. It was caught on camera. They were tried and convicted. That is clear. So what is happening now, it seems to me, Stephen A., is LeBron reacted before the facts were out, admitted that he did so, and now it is being used as a political football in bad faith. That's what seems to me to be happening.
First of all, Max, you're absolutely right.
Of course.
With everything that you said. But you're missing the boat. And it's primarily because of things that you've articulated on many occasions in the past. When you sit up there and you say there are politicians lying to constituents to curry favor with them, I think that's a very legitimate point in some cases, without question. When you talk about LeBron James' intent, you're right on the money. I said it before you said it. We totally agree. That's not the issue. The issue is the fodder you provided for those on the other side of the aisle. Now, I'm not talking politics here. I'm talking about for those who disagree with LeBron James, for those who are on the attack, for those who were looking for something, an excuse. He gave it to them because he didn't educate himself about the issue before.
He didn't give anybody anything. He's continuing to be exactly who we know him to be, which is a complete phony, which is a complete fraud, a liar, a manipulator, and someone who's trying to paint a false narrative around police officers. This is exactly who LeBron is. He didn't give us anything that he hasn't been giving us. He just did it in a more blatant way. He's been doing this. He's been doing it for years. And people like these two clowns, they've been taking up for him. ESPN, Fox Sports, they all take up for him. They all protect him because he needs to be protected, because he's not a smart person. He's a very dumb person that needs to be protected.
He spoke, which is something he almost never does. So do I believe that this is something that should have a residual impact and a longing effect where people get to use this as an excuse to condemn LeBron James? Hell no. What he has meant to our community, what he does, where his heart lies,
here we
speaks
go.
for itself. That's not.
And again, this is all you're going to get now. Now we're going to try to get into how LeBron's such a great guy, and you know he's this and he's that, and nobody with a working brain is actually buying that. In fact, here's Curt Schilling, who actually is calling out LeBron James for the garbage person that he is. Right here, Curt Schilling lashes out at LeBron James for the stupidest, most ignorant takes on the planet. And that is very accurate right there. That is extremely accurate, because LeBron's takes are all-time bad and no one holds him accountable. The media continues to protect him. Even Twitter was protecting him when he put his foot in his mouth over this whole thing. Retired baseball player Curt Schilling lashed out at basketball player LeBron James during an appearance on Fox News on Saturday. Conservatives have lashed out at the LA Lakers star for his support of BLM movement. Schilling complained to host Jesse Waters about receiving criticism from an employee at Foot Locker for his views. But when you're a liberal, you're allowed to comment on anything and everything. And apparently just being a liberal allows you to be an expert. I mean, if you look at the last 2 or 3 years, some of the worst, most stupidest, most ignorant takes on the planet have come from LeBron James' Twitter account. Schilling is an interesting choice to evaluate the quality of takes. ESPN fired Schilling over his social media takes. His takes have apparently been bad enough to keep him from being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Schilling played for the World Series 6 times, being part of the winning team 3 times. James, who is still playing, has appeared in the NBA Finals 10 times, winning his sports championship 4 times. James, for his part, seems unconcerned with the right-wing activism or criticism he's been receiving right there. And there's more to it. So I don't know what side that this particular website's taking, which it doesn't really matter to me. The point is I'm glad Curt Schilling called him out. But yeah, man, I mean, LeBron James he's a terrible, terrible person. He's just not a good person. He's not a good person. And I'm continue to talk about this, but I had to see what Max Kellerman had to say, because you can see the mental gymnastics that Max Kellerman is trying to attempt to do to try to justify LeBron James' stupidity and ignorance. And they're going to continue to do that. But that's okay, because we'll keep calling him out. The more dumb takes you have, LeBron, the more that you protect him, ESPN and FS1, the more we're just going to roast you. So keep it up. Keep giving me content, and I'll keep knocking you down with the facts. Anyway, thank you guys for checking out this video. Check us out on Locals. I will have a link to it in the pinned post. Go to geeksandgamers.com, sign up to our website. Follow us on Twitch. We have a main Geeks and Gamers channel, over 300,000 subs over there. My personal channel, D-Day Cobra, Ryan Kennel, RK Outpost, Park Hoppin', our theme park channel, Geeks and Gamers Live, our live channel, Gaming with Geeks, our gaming channel. We've got it going on all over the place. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.